Hey there, today I'm going to be talking about the graphic novel My Favorite Thing is Monsters by Emil Ferris. It's about a girl named Karen who is growing up in Chicago in the 1960s. And if you can't tell from this picture, Karen is adorable. She's obsessed with monsters, so she depicts herself as this kind of half girl, half creature. And this book is framed as her notebook. So it's kind of like a journal of her day-to-day goings on. But you can see this is designed like a spiral bound notebook, and that's just the most incredible thing about this book is the artwork and the amount of detail that is going on in here. And I really liked the format because it's not just traditional panels like you find in a lot of comic books, but if Karen wants to explore something in more detail, she will just take up a whole page of her notebook to do so. So I really liked that feeling of just the artwork spilling over onto the page and just being this immersive experience. On one hand, I get that it's not really realistic for a child to come up with a journal like this because the storyline is just so mature and the artwork is so technically demanding, but at the same time, I would always have an unrealistically advanced child narrator than some kind of overly simplified one, so I'm willing to suspend my disbelief in order to get involved in Karen's story. And Karen does go through a lot of mature and intense situations in this book. So for example, her mother gets diagnosed with cancer, so it's about her family coming together in this time of crisis. And also, she had this mysterious older woman that lived upstairs in her building that has turned up dead. So Karen's also trying to investigate and to figure out what happened to her neighbor. And she's also learning more about her life and the kind of person that she was before she died. A good amount of the story is actually narrated by this neighbor back when she was still alive, as she talks us through her childhood growing up in Europe and leading up to her experiences in the Holocaust. So it is a really bleak and disturbing story in a lot of ways. And that's when we realize that the monsters in the title are not just these cartoony villains that Karen likes to draw in her notebooks, but monsters are these real people around us and in society. So the monsters are a lot scarier in a lot of ways because it's not always easy to identify them. So we especially see that through this neighbor's story in her childhood, and she is taken advantage of in so many ways by so many terrible people. So that's what makes Karen's fascination with monsters so interesting. She wants to become a monster, not just because she thinks that they are cool and interesting, but she wants to become a monster because she realizes that she is not safe in her environment, and she believes if she had powers like a monster does, she could protect herself and her loved ones. So it's kind of sad watching her grow up throughout the book as she continues to have these really negative experiences, and she learns that her environment is very precarious and that it can be quite dangerous being a young girl in the city. And she comes to the sad realization that you can't always rely on people to help you out, and that society doesn't always have your back. So she comes to realize that she doesn't have the tools or the capabilities that she needs to keep herself safe and protected. But maybe if she had fangs and monsters' abilities, she might be able to do that. Another reason Karen might identify with monsters is because she feels quite othered in society. So you can see this at the scenes where she's at school and she clearly doesn't fit in, like on Valentine's Day when she brings her bloody, grotesque Valentine's Day cards in and doesn't get any back in return. So, you can see the kids at school pick on her and don't really accept her because she's kind of different looking, which I can definitely relate to. Like Karen, I too wore a trench coat to elementary school until I had a gym teacher talk to me about it and told me that people might confuse me with one of the Columbine shooters if I continued to dress like that. So, I get what she's going through. Being different, it can be definitely an awkward experience. As well as Karen is questioning her sexuality throughout this book, and she's experiencing attraction to someone of the same sex. So again, she just feels othered. She just feels different and not like the people around her, which is why she sort of sees herself as someone who's monstrous or a little bit unconventional. There are a lot of intense moments in the story, but oddly enough, the most memorable scene is the one where Karen goes to the art gallery with her brother. And her brother is a passionate artist, and he has so much to teach her about paintings and how to understand what's going on. And it's great to see that Karen, when she experiences art, like she experiences it, she will crawl into the painting and see what life is like from that perspective. So here's kind of one where they're like her and her brother just looking at the painting, and then all of a sudden she is in the painting and she is conversing with the different people who are populating this painting, and she has all these insights about life while she is in these paintings, and she takes these tiny details and uses them to think about her own life. And it really inspired me to spend some more time thinking about visual art. I really loved the idea of using your imagination to feel what it would be like to be inside that painting and to make your own personal connections with what you're seeing. So you can see in a later scene when Karen and her friends go to the art gallery that they are all looking at the same paintings, but they are all having such intensely different reactions to them, which makes you really question how paintings really work. So like they're supposed to be these kind of objective depictions sometimes, but we all have such different experiences viewing art. So Karen has one friend that is really into fashion and design, and he is just obsessed with the costumes that he sees in the painting. And she has another friend who's this creepy starving girl who just fixates on all the food that she can see in the paintings. And then there's Karen, who is just climbing into the paintings and just experiencing them as a whole. So it was really fascinating, and it made you think about art is such an intensely personal reaction. So this book had me thinking a lot about art, and really the art in this book itself is just stunning in so many ways. Like every page, I just wanted to stop and spend 20 minutes staring at it and just noticing the small details and everything that was going on. But also, this book has such a compelling plot that you have to just keep turning the pages to find out what's going to happen next. So it's a book that I know that I'm going to be returning to for sure. I'm so excited that there was going to be another volume in the series because I absolutely loved this world and I cannot wait to go back. So I'm really glad I checked it out. And if you are looking for a graphic novel with an intriguing storyline, some lovable characters, and some astounding artwork, then I would definitely recommend giving this one a try.